We're live. Welcome to another edition of Hacks Chat. We have Phillip. We have Phillip Diaz in the chat here with us. How are you doing, brother?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Art. It's great to be on the show again.
Yeah, never a problem. Never a problem. Yeah, it's always fun hanging out with you and your bro.
Yeah.
No problem there. So what you been up to, man?
Oh man, it's been crazy. I mean, the whole year since doing Magic Hop and then getting it printed and shipping it out, and so now we are fully out there and shipped to people. And since we've been shipping and more people have been posting their pictures of the books and all the packages they've been getting on Twitter, we've been getting more sales, which is amazing. This weekend, we just crossed $10,000 in funding, which is awesome for us. Our first graphic novel, putting it out there and getting that much reception and sales. And even today, people are just getting their books and putting awesome reviews up on Twitter. So it's really cool to see. Coming from the writing aspect, you don't really get a lot of feedback on your product and on your skills until your stuff's out there.
Right.
So now getting that, gratification of people reading it and seeing it in their hands, it's awesome. It's amazing.
Is this your absolute first printed graphic novel?
So graphic novel, yes. My brother and I years ago did some floppies of one of the characters that's actually in our new book. He's a vigilante character named the Silhouette, and we used to self-publish it with really small printing runs, like 50. We would sell at Wizard World Chicago. We went a couple times, and we didn't do it traditional art. It was what we did is we took pictures in front of a green screen and then Brandon would Photoshop it to make it look like a comic book.
Okay.
So that was fun. But yeah, like a full graphic novel, this is our first time doing anything like that.
Oh, very, very cool. So yeah, it's neat that that's why in demand is great, because when you start shipping, it starts feeding. It's almost like back issues, like the old comic books, right? So you have the monthly that comes out, and then you're like, hey, who's this character? And then you realize there's back issues of that character, and then you go to your comic book shop and you start rifling through all the back issues. In demand kind of works the same way. So as you're shipping things out, people are posting, they're all happy, like this is a great book, and then it attracts more people to want to buy it. One thing we did with Black and White that I will not, I don't know yet with Chrono Mechanics, but I'm pretty sure that will keep the in-demand store going even during fulfillment, because Black and White, we stopped actually. We stopped right before we started fulfilling.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to show good faith, because I thought at the time, everything's changing, how we're doing, business, and how we're figuring out how the best way to get the maximum profits and to make, the most customers happy.
Yeah.
And so, we stopped just before we went into fulfillment, because I thought, well, they're going to need to know that I'm showing good faith, right? That this is an actual end, and now we're going into this different phase. And man, I'll tell you, once those books started shipping, and I was encouraging people to take photos of their books and the packages when they came. Mm-hmm. Everybody was like, "Hey, man, how do I get a book? How do I get a book? You closed out the internet store. What the heck's wrong with you?"
No, yeah, it's great, especially like new guys that everyone should do it. I think take advantage of what Indiegogo has to offer. And you'll find, just like you did, where people want it, and especially now where we're promoting our next book, we could still leave Magic Hop in demand and even get that cross promotion when we go on streams talking about the new stuff and be like, oh yeah, you see like Vinny Tartamella does it all the time.
Yeah, he's got like 3, right? He's like his art book, his is it Into the Woods? Is that it?
Yeah, he's got Through the Woods is the new one.
Through the Woods, yeah.
His art book, and then City of Venus is still in demand. So they're all, still rising in funding, which is so cool that Indiegogo allows you to keep it in the store.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do a Black and White second chance. I'll probably launch next month, probably mid next month, and that's mostly because of like what we're talking about, where people are like, how do I get this book? You closed out the campaign. And so that's what we're going to be doing there. But how do you want to give some people backstory on Magic Cop, or do you want to go into Lost Pages first? Or
yeah, we could talk about Magic Cop first. I have one of the copies right here because we're still
cool.
shipping stuff.
Hold it up closer to the let me see.
Yeah, look at that. And we printed with Mixum, which Vinny, turned Comicsgate over, onto Mixum with an awesome printing service. They have a bunch of printers based in the U.S. And they're a UK company, so when you call them up, they're like 24 hours. They have people around the clock. So awesome customer service. And they have a bunch of, of course, different coatings you could put on the covers, page stocks and everything. So I highly recommend those guys. They're great.
Wow, that looks great.
Yeah, it is. It's so like people are loving it, saying it's super fun. And hey, look, there I am as well. Yeah. Brandon's here.
That's funny.
We're in the same office. But yeah, so this is, you guys can still get this. It's in demand right now. Like Art said, the link is down below in the description. And it's 92 pages of story. It's over fully, it has interior covers, so it's over 100 pages. But yeah, check it out. And we're really excited to bring it to everybody as our first thing. And gonna be coming out with more Magic Cop in the future as well.
How many pages is the book?
It's fully, it's over 100, but just the story, the script alone, is 92 pages of story.
Cool.
Yeah.
So welcome to Hacks Chat, Brandon. What's up, man?
Hey, can you hear me if I talk like this?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm going to come through Phil's mic so that we're not doubling up the audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have a co-host as well, and we would work in the same office, and it's kind of weird, when we're in the same room, you get echo, it would pick up your voice through their mic. Mm-hmm. So then we had to start doing it where we were segregating, and then we even kind of put up a wall between us. Yeah, so we can still get our work done and talk at the same time. Yeah.
Nice.
So how you been, Brandon? What's up?
Good. Just constantly doing stuff. I haven't been drawing too much because we have so much other stuff going on, shipping out Magic. I know, it's really, really bad.
Just gotta get back to
it. I love drawing. It's just for me, it takes a long time. So I really have to have the time to sit and draw, or kind of put myself in the gear of drawing.
Or me whipping him to get pages done.
Oh.
So for everybody in the chat who's just kind of tuning in and might not know who Phillip and Brandon Diaz is, Phillip, you're the writer. That's what you bring to, and then Brandon is the artist, and they're also brothers. So they're a writer-artist team. And Brandon, you do everything, right? You're doing the colors as well, is that right? Or
no, I didn't do the colors on the interiors of the comic book, but I do all of the line and then the inking and everything, and the graphic design and stuff. But we have Eugene Batibu who does all of our colors for us.
Oh, I thought, did you do the cover? Did you do the color?
I didn't do the cover. That was Pablo Romero.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brandon did cover colors on the retailer poster that we had for our retailer pack.
Okay.
This really cool movie poster that turned out really well. He's got it on the wall up there.
But, okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Look at that.
Yeah, he kind of he did it like an old style movie poster, 80s poster.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's only available if you get the retailer pack, which comes with 5 books. So we sold one of those, which is awesome, and hopefully that person owns a comic shop, because it would be so cool to see that in a window.
If you're lucky, you can check out my Tower of Dunkin' Donuts cups.
Yeah, those are.
you gotta have your collection, right? Yeah. So you did the logo work as well, right, Brandon?
Yeah, I love doing logos. Before I started doing illustrations and things like that, I was a graphic designer by trade, and so I do a lot of logos and promotional media, social media stuff for the business that I work for. And so excuse me, I love doing that. So I did the logo for Magic Cop. I did the logo for Grayscale, which is Cauldron Comics comic. And then a couple of others that haven't been released yet, but I love doing those too.
Yeah, that Magic Cop logo is really killer, man. It looks
Thank
awesome.
you.
Well, let me show people your campaign, and then you guys can go through it real quick. I just want to give people context to
Yeah.
the IP and everything, just in case there's some new people that may not know that have been under a rock all this time and may not know what Magic Cop is. So this is Magic Cop Drop Dead Legs, and this is Zaid Comics, which is the Diaz brothers, and it is in demand. So you're at 10,622. You have over 200 backers. You have 216 backers. That's very, very cool. And oh man, you guys closed that at 4,700. So you've been pretty busy in demand.
Yeah, for sure. That's why, Indiegogo is the place to be, because, they give you that you could get a bunch of second wins during your in-demand session, and that's definitely worked out for us. As you can see, it's amazing.
Well, very cool. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Magic Cop? Look at that. Sexy mermaids.
Yeah, sure. Magic Cop was kind of like the brainchild of just Brandon and coming up with the title. He just pulled the title out of nowhere, and we took that and we're like, what could we turn Magic Cop into? And originally, we worked for a arcade game company, so we were going to develop it as a side-scrolling beat 'em up like Bad Dudes, Streets of Rage, the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. And my favorite thing about writing comics is coming up with character creation and design. So we came up with these wacky characters, and the world just expanded so much. We're like, we have a bunch of story. We should turn this into a comic book. So this comic is the first story in the Magic Cop series, and we follow Iggy Cromwell, who's a new Magic Cop on the scene. And this is his first case. He has to work with his Wolfman partner, who's on the verge of retirement, as they investigate the murder of a mermaid prostitute. There's a bunch of wacky characters.
Does the werewolf say things like, I'm getting too old for this shit?
No, not yet. I'm sure he will eventually, though. But, yeah, he's definitely that character. We're taken from some of the best tropes in the 80s, maybe, buddy cop movies, 80s crime TV shows like Miami Vice for sure. And he is that old timer who's getting ready to retire, and maybe has one more case in him. He's kind of burnt out from the job, and he's more the emotional side of the comic, where something horrible has happened to him in his life, and he can't turn back into a human from being this wolf man. It's either he can't or he doesn't want to, because he's so bummed out about it. So you'll learn more about that in the story.
Oh, very cool. So it is like story content. It's 88 pages, but there's more. Like what kind of supplemental stuff do you have in there?
Yeah, so we it was originally 88, and then I rewrote the ending to put some more action in. So now it's 92.
I see that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No problem. Yeah, and it's a 4-chapter story, so it's basically 4 issues in one graphic novel. And we wrote it so like, after each chapter, there's kind of like that cliffhanger, and then you go into the next one as if you were reading a monthly comic. But then this is, it's self-contained, so there is an ending to this one, and then it leaves room for other sequels. For supplemental stuff, we do have our Ash Can, which is part of our featured tier. It has an awesome cover by Elliot Fernandez, which is a little bit of ways down if you keep scrolling. And then in that, the supplemental Ash Can is a bunch of concept art and character descriptions, kind of like the idea behind the conception of the IP. And it also has a 12-page pilot issue in it, like a short story with a bunch of action, which was the first story that Brandon and I worked on together to kind of get our footing for him working off of my scripts.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and that original art is still up for grabs on there. We have the beautiful 11x17 Elliot Fernandez pencil and inks.
What kind of either sweet talk or what kind of dirt or how much money did it take to get Elliot to do this?
I can't say that. So this was a while ago. So we launched the campaign in August, and I actually met Elliot at C2E2 last year. and we were hanging out for a little bit. But I mean, things were much different back then. I also met Nasser there, and we were also hanging out there, and then that all blew up. But yeah, Elliot it was cool, and I just contacted him and his art rep, and made a deal, and he whipped up this awesome like it reminds me of like a VHS box art, totally 80s. And the same colorist that colors the interiors and everything for Magic Cop colored this cover too. So
cool. Yeah, I like the little like neon outlines around the characters and stuff. This is really great. Did the colorist drop this this texture background, or did Elliot do that?
No, the colorist did the texture background. Yeah, it's just that background was white.
Wow, that's nice. I like that. I like where it goes from like these kind of action like ray of like light on the lower part, and then about the middle of the cover, it starts turning into that crosshatch pattern. That's pretty neat. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
So
he's a phenomenal artist in his own right. Even if he doesn't do any drawing himself, just the coloring. The coloring itself is an art form.
Oh yeah.
And he's so good at it. He can do all kinds of different mental concepts and stuff that I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like the artist of the time was like Drew Struzan. Is that kind of like the coloring looks a little like Drew Struzan, and it's kind of even laid out like a Drew Struzan movie poster or cover. That's pretty neat. And that's still for sale. You still have what's that tier? Where is that at? Let's see how much.
Yeah, so you can get the book on the featured tier, or the last tier on there that's available is should be the Elliot Fernandez original art. If you keep scrolling up, because all those sketch cards are gone.
Okay. Oh, okay. Here it is.
And that comes with both books as well. It comes with the full story book and the ash can with that original art.
Wow, that's a great deal.
Yeah, the funny story about that is that perk was actually the first perk we sold day one, and then the next day someone refunded it.
Oh man! So it comes with both books plus cover. What is both books plus cover? What is that?
So that's the both books plus the original cover art for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's sometimes they say cover and it's like a variant cover, so I was a little.
Yeah, right. Yeah, should have threw art on there.
So do you guys have any stretch goals that are magic wands?
No, we had some pretty fun ones. We did bookmarks and then a postcard, which I have an example of that right here. Everybody that backed it before we started shipping out got one of these postcards sent to them, either like, Magic Cop's on their way, or thank you for backing it. And then we have a theme song for the book that Vosto Vlad made a track for, and everybody that backs the book still gets that MP3 of that song, so they could, put the top down on their cars and drive along the beachfront.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I wanted to come down here for the stretch goals.
Yeah.
So the stretch goals at 4K, is that right? You get the upgrade, the paper upgrade. 5K, you get the bookmark. So everybody, even in demand, is still going to get these stretch goals. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the only ones that we're not going to be giving away now that we started shipping out is the bookmarks and the postcards, because we printed a bunch of those and we're out of them now.
Show them the blockhead that everybody gets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So everybody also gets, this is in addition to their comic book order, that's not even part of the stretch goals, is everybody gets one of these blockheads that Phil has here, which is a blockhead kit that you could cut out of this heavy poster paper card stock, and then you could put them together and it makes this little blockhead guy right here.
Yeah, we're still printing those out, so everybody's still getting these.
I love the magic coming off the wand.
Yeah, you really did a great job with it. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, very good, man. Let's see. Got some traction just the other day. You crossed the 10K.
Yeah, we had a really amazing sales day. We had I think, what was it, like 12 orders in a single day?
Yeah, that was the most we've ever had. Yeah, we went on to John Malin's stream. He was having a bunch of people on, hopped on there to talk about the Lost Pages, and we went over Magic Hop a little bit, and it just blew up, which was, pushed us over 10K and then even so much more, which is amazing.
Sweet. Well, let's play the video and then we'll come back.
Hey everybody, it's Phil and Brandon, writer and artist of Magic Hop, our newest graphic novel from Zaid Comics, live here on Indiegogo. So jump in on the action with us with this trailer right now. Thanks for watching, everybody, and remember, we need your help to make Magic Hop happen. So spread the word and hop on in. Let's go make some comics.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, that was a fun day of shooting.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Yeah, seeing a lot of people. Someone said Jan Hammer in the chat, who's the guy that did the music for Miami Vice. Super
Jan Hammer?
Vice, yeah, super inspired by him and Miami Vice, of course. So
yeah, who did the graphics? Who put that video together?
I did all the editing and like the little 3D stuff. It was pretty fun. It was cool using doing something different with that program, and that when we filmed that, like a week or two before, I had just like fallen off my motorcycle and like my arm is like ripped up. So it's like bandaged up in that video. It's funny.
Yeah, it's very cool. So all those, I liked all the palm trees kind of coming in, and they overlap the artwork and stuff. That was very cool. And just for clarification, the video said 88, but it's actually 92 pages, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. We extended that later in the campaign. We changed the ending. So
just to put the pressure on me as the artist to make sure that we were cutting it to the wire.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you're like me, Brandon. You got to pull the pages out of my hands anyway, like, because there's always one more thing. There's always something to fix or something to add.
Yeah.
And that's I don't know if I'm like that. I feel like I got to just start it, and then if I don't finish it like really, really fast, I feel like it just drags on. So I just try to get through it, do the best that I can, and make sure it looks as good as I can possibly make it look, and then get it out so that we can get it to the colors.
Oh, I wish I had that. My whole career, it's always been like, no. You're still working on it, like down to the very wire, and then you just pay the price the next day. And then if you're working on a deadline, it just compounds, right? Like, if you go an extra hour, then it's the next day. It's that hour is added on, and then if you go long on that one, then it adds on, and then so on and so on and so on. Yes. And then by the end of the month, you find that you're like 3 pages short from your deadline.
Yeah.
And then you pull an all-nighter. But hey, there's always the all-nighter, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't do those anymore. I mean, I've done them. I do them every once in a while, but As soon as my daughter was born, I was like, nah, I'm not doing that crap anymore. So if I absolutely have to, I have that as reserve. And what I started doing as well, just to get through deadlines, is I'd work 5 days a week, so Monday through Friday, and I would try to work it out where it was kind of like a 9 to 6 kind of work schedule. So if I still needed time in the evening, I could come home, have dinner with my family, hang out with my kid, and then I could go to work until it's bedtime. And so I still had that reserve, and then I still had the weekend if I had to get things done. And by doing that, I was building in buffers for deadlines, so I could either take on more work or I could ease the pressure.
No, yeah, that's really smart.
Yeah, because up to that point, man, I was working 24/7. It was absolutely absurd. I was sleeping at the studio. I had like a little rollaway pad. And I had a pillow under my desk. And actually, the old Hack Shack Studios, I wasn't the only one. There was we all had kind of like a little sleeping bags and stuff. We'd work till we couldn't work any longer. I remember there was one night, and I was working. I absolutely had to get it done by the morning. And I must have fell asleep, and I woke myself up by smacking my head into the drawing board. So I physically fell asleep right at the drawing board. It was crazy. Yeah.
Horrible.
But those were the old days when I think at one point, Hack Shack Studios, we did like 5 or 6 books a month in a month's time. So that's like 5 to 6 pages a day that we were putting out. Yeah.
That's insane.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah, I had a crew, but it was still a lot of work. Yeah. I don't do that crazy shit anymore. That's for the young guy. That's for you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I've definitely had that, because I do my own lettering as well. So when I was lettering Magicop, I'd stay up until like 5 in the morning. And then I also had work in the next day, so I'd sleep for like 4 hours and then go to work. And then I'm also lettering Passion for Drawings book Doom Fate. So I just I've been lettering pages for that as well. So that really, for me, being a writer where I could just write anytime and pump that out, lettering is very different.
So you're giving Eric Weathers a run for his money, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, man. A little competition's good. Keeps everybody frosty.
No, Eric's awesome. He, when I first started and got into Comicsgate and was inquiring about letters and stuff, he gave me a lot of awesome tips on where to go to learn that. Yeah. And
I'm getting lettered pages in now.
Oh, sweet.
From
Eric?
This is from Jeff Eckelberry.
Oh, awesome.
But yeah, these are for Chrono. But go ahead, keep talking. I'm just going to show you.
Yeah. So he would give me tips, send me, hooked me up with Blambot, and they have an awesome, formatting, the do's and don'ts of lettering. And then him and Carlo Rowe from Deathsworn gave me some awesome tips on, really making your letters pop. Yeah. So those guys, shout out to those guys. Yeah.
What program are you using? Are they your own fonts that you scan, like you did them physically and then scanned them in, or how you doing the fonts?
So I've made one for a character in our next book, but right now I'm using a lot of fonts from Blambot, buying them off of there, and then manipulating to make it look different, or to make more exemplary and stuff like that. So. And I'm also using Clip Studio Paint for lettering. Which
do you remember? This is a little older, but Richard Starkings, who was one of the first guys that was started selling his fonts. So you could go with. It was called Comics Craft. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Oh, you guys are way too young. Yeah. So he was. What he did is he was a traditional letterer, and so he started scanning his work in. And so then he started working digitally. And I don't know why he did this, but he started selling his fonts.
Yeah.
So he'd have different packages that he would sell. And then I was always like, as soon as you went from hand lettering to digital, like the art form changed. You know what I mean? It wasn't, because it used to be right on the board. They would hand letter right on the board.
Right.
And so then you took it from that to digital. And then on top of that, you started selling your fonts. It seems counterintuitive, right? Like it seems short term. You'll make money in the short term, but eventually
you'll be depleted from all your
everybody
fonts.
will be using your fonts and they won't be using you.
Yeah, that's a funny way to look at it. Yeah, no, but there's some cool websites where you could take, it'll give you like a alphabet grid that you just draw in your letters for every letter that you want, and then you upload it and it turns it into a font for you.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So how do you do sound effects? Can you design those as well on those sites, or?
Yeah. If you wanted to do that, or of course, if you are an artist, you could, draw in your own sound effects digitally, or take an existing font, which I do sometimes, and blow it up, manipulate it, mess with the size and the perspective of it to make it look crazy for a different sound effect.
So since Brandon's so good with logos, do you ever do the sound effects? Do you ever design them?
No, I let Phil usually handle all of that because I'm not a huge comic book reader, so I don't have the knowledge of how that stuff is supposed to look.
Like with placement
page.
And stuff.
Yeah, so
these are all me.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The board, some of the sound effects are
actually... I actually really enjoyed putting sound effects in, like how you had just showed on that page, where the word is sometimes covered by another person.
Where they're talking over each other. Yeah.
It's fun to do. You just make your sound effect and then mask off where that art is, and it looks like the words behind them, which is just fun.
And sometimes I like to play with the balloon placements where I'll either space them further apart or closer together based on the rhythm. So you can kind of change the rhythm of the way that the characters are talking by the spacing. And sometimes, like you said, you can overlap them. So it's kind of like the pacing is just rapid fire. Or what I did a couple times with Chrono is where one character interrupts the other. So it's actually over the type. You know what I mean? So it's like one is talking directly over the other. So I like to play with pacing that way as well. So, obviously if it's overlapping the lettering, the characters are talking over each other. If it's slightly overlapping the balloon, that means the pace is really fast. Space, the further apart, it's kind of like a pause between characters talking. So there's all kinds of neat things you can do like that. I do stuff like that with boxes too, like panel layouts. Yeah. So if I want the rhythm to move faster, I'll either the gutters will be closer together or the panels will be slightly overlapping. So I can show like that the actions are kind of moving quicker, or that one action is happening at the same time or close to the same time as the other. Because you can't overlap them perfectly, because then you wouldn't be able to see them.
No, that's the stuff I love about comics, now that I'm getting more and more into it and learning more, just everything that goes into pacing of a story that the reader doesn't realize. And it goes into their head subconsciously, whether it be the way that you letter the book and how leads your eye around, and it lets you read things quicker or slower to change the pace of the book, or paneling in general, the panel layouts and the flow of the panels to dictate a different feeling that the reader is going to have. It's so cool.
Right. And if you're doing it right, they shouldn't know that they're being manipulated that way. It should just kind of happen organically. I remember Jim Shooter gave me advice, and he said, if somebody has to think about what they're looking at, you didn't do your job.
Yeah.
So the thing is that they shouldn't even be analyzing it. They should just kind of be going with the flow and just kind of in the story, involved with the journey of the character, all those things. And he was like a purist, because I remember having a conversation with Jim Shooter about like, well, what about characters that break panels? And he goes, absolutely none of that.
Yeah.
He goes, because that takes you right out of the reality, because the world is in those panels. Yeah. And then he goes, just like when you go to see a movie, He goes, the characters don't break the movie screen. And I just told him, I said, but if they could, that would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, he must have hated 90s Image then, because everyone was jumping on the panels there.
Oh, I still broke the panels all the time. I didn't take his advice because I thought he was wrong. Yeah. Because I think if you do it right, you can still break the panel and not interrupt the flow, or but it would be just like if you went to the movie theater, like like old 3D or whatever, and you could actually physically have a character break that screen. I think people would lose their freaking minds, and we can do that with comic books. Yeah. But he was so set against that, man. Even though I said that, he was just like, no. I go, really? If you saw somebody jump out of the screen, that wouldn't be cool. No, it would break the reality of what they were doing, and it's like, whatever, man. I don't know you.
It's like a handful of that in Magic Cop when I was drawing some things, and Phil would get the page from me, just black and whites and stuff, and like, what is happening here, or like, why is this drawing like this? Because Phil's scripts are specific, but there's a little bit of looseness to them where I can interpret things the way that I want to draw them, or how I should shoot the angle from it, stuff like that.
Well, sometimes I like to have the character break the panel because it actually adds emphasis to what it is. So sometimes you want the character to be larger than life the panel, and if you want that to happen, have them break the panel. And there's always one thing, like when you have a character break the panel, make sure that, like, if you want it to go, in your direction, Phil, and then down, that breaking, this part of the panel, and then breaking the panel coming down this way. So it still leads your eye around, in that pattern. Because sometimes people don't do that correctly, and it will. I mean, Jim Shooter's right. It can screw things up, and also sometimes people break the panel just to break a panel. You know what I mean? It's just for artistic reasons. It's not for any kind of impact or anything. And so, sometimes that can be debatable, I guess, because Travis Charest, as good as he is, sometimes he'll just break the panel just for like artistic reasons, not necessarily story reasons.
There's a handful of that in Magic Cop for sure, where it's just like, oh, let me just put this guy here because I feel like drawing the rest of them or something like that.
Yeah, and we'll see that too in some of the panels I'm going to show for our Lost Pages book. There's one of the characters is this huge hulking guy that's larger than life, and my artist breaks the panels a lot with him.
Well, you want to show those, or do you want to show off your Indiegogo page, your pre-launch page first?
Yeah, well, let's show the pre-launch page, and then we can get into the actual characters and stuff for that.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Yeah. I got it all saved here.
Before we get into that, we could show, or we don't have to show, we could say to everybody in the audience, if you want more Magic Cop, you guys can go to zadecomics.com, and there's a link to our Etsy store on there where we have T-shirts and some more merchandise on there for Magic Cop. You guys can place your order, and we do all of the printing, vinyl pressing, and everything like that right in-house. And so you guys can get those shipped out very quickly directly from us.
Yeah, check out those shirts.
Oh, so you guys are making the shirts and shipping them yourself?
Yeah.
We work for a company that has a lot of businesses, I guess, and one of them is a print shop. So we have access to the ability to print all of our own shirts and posters and everything like that. So
yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So go check out their Etsy store. So this is the Lost Pages pre-launch sign-up page. Tells tells Lost in Time, stories of the heroes that will come together to right the end of the world.
Yeah. So these are characters that Brandon and I have been working on for years. We've created a lot of these characters, over 5 years ago. Like I said, see, this first one here is the Silhouette, and he was the first character that Brandon and I ever self-published back in like 2011, I think. So he's back. This is the first time he's traditionally drawn in a comic book, and along with a bunch of other characters. So this is basically our connected universe of heroes. Like Marvel and DC, stuff like that. So each character is from a different area of the world or a different time, and they will eventually come together. But we really wanted to drive home that these heroes are different, but in the same universe. And so we hired multiple artists. So each story that highlights these heroes will be drawn by a different artist.
Okay, so the silhouette will have like his chapter.
Yeah.
And then is Wildcard, is that one of the other characters?
Yeah. Wildcard is totally different. He's a sorcerer from Merlin times and lives throughout the ages. So every story we see him in, he'll be in a different era. And in this one, he's in like the 1600s. He's a pirate, and his crew is attacked by these sirens, and they get hypnotized by the song of the sirens. And the song doesn't work on him, so he has to figure out how to take these giant, horrific flying birds out. And this theme is usually is more of like your mythical horror theme with Wildcard, where the silhouette is more of your black and white vigilante noir story.
Right. So this is the artist on this one's Joe Ball. I saw that rendering of that ship, that clipper ship.
Yeah.
Holy crap, man! That thing is insane.
Yeah, Joe is awesome. He's doing stuff like Super Harem and Death. He's a great guy and such an amazing artist. Yeah. And then we have our last two heroes, where the one on the left is your 90s ultraviolent characters. So if you love the Max, Lobo, characters like that, you're going to love Crimstone. Crimstone is the story of a girl named Taz, and she has a little imaginary friend when she's a child, but as she grows up, she forgets about him. She gets older, and tragedy strikes into her life, and Crim comes back. Her imaginary friend is this hulking, badass, toxically masculine monster who helps her become a vigilante or crime fighter in the city. And we'll get into some color.
Kind of like her protector, or are they both fighters?
So she is the only one that can see him. So they have like they talk to each other, and it looks like she's talking to herself. So he is like what she wishes she could be. Like, he doesn't care about anything. He's just, is bombastic and psycho and has no care in the world. So he's kind of like a projection of what she wishes she could be, but as her imaginary friend. So they have this like brother-sister relationship. And whenever you see her fighting in fight scenes, you see him, which is pretty crazy.
Oh, the reader sees him, but the person that's being beat up doesn't see him. They're just kind of beat up. Do they think it's her that's beating them up, or?
Yeah. So in reality, it's she's kicking their ass, but in her mind, like, he's just tearing them apart.
Okay. Yeah. So is that character real?
You'll find out in the future.
I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm asking all the right questions already.
Sure.
So who's this dapper guy with the sword?
So that is the Masquerade. If you guys love old pulp heroes from like the 1930s, like the Shadow, the Green Hornet, the Phantom, then the Masquerade is your guy. He's based in the 1930s in Chicago, and he is a master of disguise. So he could take the form of any other person. And a cool, unique thing about him is he speaks in Shakespearean language. He's obsessed with theater. And so he speaks an iambic pentameter. So the reader is going to have a lot of fun with that. Very classic hero. His villains are, in this story, they're mobsters, but a lot of the times they could be like those 1966 Batman villains. They're very larger than life. So a lot of different themes and genres in here. If you guys are a fan of comics in general, there's going to be something in here for you, because we're spanning so many genres.
Well, I have to ask you, and you don't have to answer, but you have me intrigued. This is a great idea, by the way. They are going to cross paths at some point in the story, right?
Yeah, in the Lost Pages timeline, we're going to have these characters meet. In the future, they'll team up and stuff like that. So originally, these characters were all supposed to be in the same storyline. And what I wanted to do in this first one is take a step back from that, so we can introduce them until we get to the point where they do meet up in the future.
Okay. The girl here, she looks very buff. Does she somehow get that monster's powers?
So when she does, like when he does come back into her life and she gets into fight, she does have this heightened strength.
Okay.
As she grows up, before he comes back into her life again, she starts working out, building up her body, and that's the kind of adult way she copes with life's stresses. Because when she's a kid, she has her imaginary friends to help her cope. You know, that's her best friend. He always has her back and talks to her about things. And then she forgets about him, and that coping mechanism is gone. And so she kind of goes crazy, and she doesn't know how to deal with life. And she goes through, you know, some bad coping mechanisms until she finds a gym, starts working out, building up herself.
Wow, this is awesome. So if you sign up now, you guys, you get the free trading card. Well, what's going to be the trading card? Is it going to be like a jam of the whole team, or?
We're thinking for the first one, we're going to, like, this campaign's going to have a lot of trading cards, and we're going to unlock them by doing stretch goals. And some trading cards are going to be by some big names. The two I could give out right now, which are pretty big, we're going to have an Andrew Huerta trading card, and we're going to have a Dan Fraga trading card.
Oh,
So and that's the first time I'm announcing that on Hackslash. So yeah, and so the first one we're thinking it's going to be an amalgam of, we might do, you know, all the characters on one card, or it might be a trading card for the Book of Lost Pages, which is an item in the story that these stories are written in and told out of. But it's definitely going to be, you know, an awesome trading card with a little blurb on the back of, you know, about it. And we're going to try to do those for each character if we get enough funding.
But this one here, if you sign up, will it be exclusive, or will everybody that backs a book be able to get them?
So this one will be exclusive to people that are on the mailing list.
Ah, very cool, man. That is awesome. This one, I mean, Magic Cop is a great concept as well, but this one is, I mean, just for me personally, it's more of like things that I really like. So I can't wait to see how you get these characters from completely different genres. I mean, you know, that's all action adventure, but you know what I mean? Like, I guess different worlds is a better way to say it. And how you're going to bring them all together, kind of like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, you know, kind of idea where you have all these different characters, but yours are also from different like from different timelines, right? So there's going to be some time travel involved, right?
Well, characters like Wildcard, you know, he's from Merlin times, so he's lived for so long. So when in the future, when he meets up with the Silhouette, and you know, they have their adventures together or whatever, he's already lived, you know, thousands and thousands of years. So he's got all that history to him. And you know, maybe, you know, I know Brandon and I have some characters that we're going to do down the line that are going to be some time travelers that might come from the future, but those are going to be.
So the way these guys get together is not through time travel. Somehow, the character from, did you say the 1600s or?
Yeah. So yeah, Wildcard, he's immortal. So he's going to, you know, his life is going to intersect with these other characters that are living in present day.
And then the Silhouette is a contemporary character, and so is the girl with the demon, right?
Yeah.
So really, the only characters you have to account for are the other three. The
Masquerade.
Yeah, and then what was the swashbuckler character's name?
Yeah, that's the Masquerade, or you know, Wildcard. Yeah,
Wildcard.
Pirates.
I don't know why I said swashbuckler. I think it's because this fight is on a boat, right?
Yeah. In my mind, that's only a snippet in his life, but to all the fans, you know, they're seeing him as a pirate right now.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking kind of Errol Flynn-ish, but then that's actually the Masquerade is more that guy, right?
Yeah.
Like the swashbuckling sword fighter. All right. Oh my gosh, that is cool. So yeah, so you guys go sign up for that, and then you can get that trading card.
Yeah, if you want, I have some pages I could show you guys with colored stuff as well.
Oh yes, please. And Zach Bradley helped you guys out. He put a link in the chat here.
Oh, so much. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and what we're going to do also is with our supplemental book, like how we had the Ash Can for Magic Hop, we're going to have a supplemental book for people that are totally in on the Lost Pages. and that's going to give you even more stories. So I wrote these 4-page short stories for each character, just to kind of get their voice and practice writing them. And that will be in the supplemental book. And when we hit stretch goals, more stories are going to unlock for that book. So that supplemental book is going to grow with the new characters that aren't even in the main book. So because we have a lot of heroes that my brother and I come up with over the times, and Brandon will have his own story in there as well if we get to that stretch goal.
Killer.
Yeah. So this is the new logo that we're going with for the Lost Pages.
Yeah, I like that, the pages with the magic around them. Is this you, Brandon? Did you come up with this?
I did the original logo design for it, but this was actually done by the Howl Comics as kind of a cleaned up, more modernized, sleeker version of the logo that I had originally designed. Mine was kind of
cool. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's the logo that's on the main one, like on the main campaign up there. When I designed that one, it is kind of muddy and stuff, but it was intentionally designed to be like that, where I feel like everybody wants a cleaner, sleeker, more digital-looking logo now. The original logo was designed to look like copper plate etching.
Okay.
In there, where obviously they haven't done copper plate etchings in decades. So
well, I don't know how you guys pulled this off. This is like if I try to do this would be a cluster F, because the way all the words are overlapping. But for some reason, the way you laid it out, you can read it perfectly. You can see the Lost Pages, even though they completely overlap by half.
yeah.
I don't know how the hell you did this, brother. This is boggling my mind.
Brandon helped us out with that, because the basic design was taken from Brandon's original logo, and then Alan Alonso, who's the artist on our Masquerade book, came up with this based on that. And then it originally didn't have the gold in the middle and the drop shadow in the back. And Brandon's like, it needs something to kind of like separate all the lines from each other. So he's like, try throwing some color in the middle, and it perfectly wrapped everything.
Yeah,
that was a good call. Yeah, because then the last stands out from the and pages, and the way you cheated the T, because the T doesn't cross any of the lettering organically, so you just kind of have it fade off right there. Genius. And then on top of that, you have this cast like there's a shadow on the book.
You threw that in there
itself. Cool. This is nutty, dude.
Glad you like it, man. It's
fun. It's pretty killer. Yeah, I used to do logo designs for all the local LA bands and stuff like that. And little known trivia, you know that band Rat from hair metal days? Mm-hmm. Danny Mickey, Greg Capullo's inker, he did that logo, and then he actually painted it on the bass drum of the drummer as well. Wow. So Danny and I share a past where we both did logo designs for local bands.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, so this scene here is kind of a part of the book that I didn't really explain earlier, but the whole story is linearly told by a narrator, and he's this homeless man in the city, and he has the actual physical book of Lost Pages. It's this magical tome that is, riddled with these stories of our heroes. And so he goes around telling these stories to other homeless people. So you can see them around the fire here. In this second panel, some lucky backer is going to be able to have their likeness drawn in as another homeless, person. And at this point in the story, he kind of like is, speaking the word of the book, and we see all of our characters, all of our heroes around the fire here, and the reader gets a kind of glimpse into the pages of the book.
So who are the last two?
Yeah, so
these characters are different than the ones.
Yeah, you're right. So these are kind of like Easter eggs. So these are some characters that'll come up in future books of the Lost Pages that we're not actually going to see in this story. So these are like little hints of characters that my brother and I came up and have other stories that cross paths with the Lost Pages.
So the silhouette and the masquerade, are those going to be kind of the main focus of the team?
So for this story, we Silhouette Masquerade. We have Wild Card here in the center, and then Taz from Crimstone is over here with her sunglasses on and her little mask.
Oh, okay. So she wears a costume too. You just didn't see it in that. Okay, so that's her. All right.
Yeah, and then these other three characters will be explored either in other books, or if we reach those stretch goals, we actually have stories with them to add to that supplemental book.
Cool. The two on the left look more like traditional superhero types.
Yeah, she's got, this chick's got like a little domino mask going on, and then he actually has like a racing helmet on, which we're really excited to explore that as well. But this is Maxi Dallo is the artist on this, who's also doing the Silhouette pages. But these ones will be colored, the in-between stories with the homeless people, colored by Steve Cannon.
Wow, this looks like a lot of fun.
Thanks, man. And then, of course, we got Silhouette, as you guys seen on that other page. And then this is actually the first time we're going to show this Wild Card page colored. Joe Ball's awesome ink work. And this is the colorist of Magic Cop that's coloring this story.
That's a different style. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's more muted tones, right down.
Yeah, he's super versatile with his colors. It's a blast working with him.
Wow, there's that ship. That's insane.
Definitely wanted to.
Goonies. It's a Goonies tie-in.
Oh, Goonies ship, yeah. Yeah, we wanted definitely to keep all the awesome line work that Joe does, and I think our colorist did a great job at that.
Yeah, I was a little nervous when you said you were going to color these pages, but these, like the flatter tones, actually works well with the line art, so they don't fight each other.
Yeah, that was a decision that we had to make when we got a couple of samples back. It's like these low saturation tones don't steal from the inking, but they still get the point across, and they actually make it easier for some discernibility between some of the characters and things like that.
Yeah, I worked with colorists in the past that just obliterate my line art, and sometimes they'll do like blur effects, and they'll do effects over the line art, and like, that took me 3 hours and you blurred it, and now no one can see it.
Yeah. I know, like, Joe's working on a bunch of books, like Super Harem's almost coming out, and then he's working on a lot of stuff for CG Jumpstart with the War Campaign guys, and they've been having trouble finding colorists that wouldn't do that to his line work, and even colorists that he was happy with them coloring his own work. But I showed this to Joe, and he's like, I love it. So we got his approval, that's what I wanted.
Yeah, so it looks great, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you. And then totally different. This is kind of like our mythological horror action adventure, like you were saying, swashbuckling, because he's on the pirate ship here. And then now we got our crazy 90s neon imaginary friend character here.
Well, let me back up with the one character. Do you remember those old Harryhausen films, the Sinbad films?
Yeah.
Now that you're talking, now that I'm looking at this work, because those are like mythological, like creatures and stuff, right? Yeah, it's a little Sinbad. I don't mean that you're copying Sinbad, but it kind of has that vibe to it, which is very cool.
That's especially, I wanted to hit that kind of color palette too. Like, I wanted things to be lighter than everything else, because you're on the seas, and this, even though this is not this isn't noon, it's not super daytime, I wanted a light, if it makes sense, a lighter dark tone. Like, it's still eerie, but it's got a lighter coloring palette than what else we have in the book.
You guys are like old souls, man. This is like these are homage to like books that even predate me, like you guys are, this is a deep dive into like action adventure lore. So this really, this warms my heart, you guys. Like, you guys are keeping this tradition going, and keeping these kind of iconic characters and adventures going. You have to do something just for me, even if it's just a throwaway. Like one of my favorite was when Sinbad battled the skeleton warriors.
Oh man, yeah, dude, check this out down here. These are skeletons that are climbing up onto the pirate ship about to fight Wildcard.
Well, thank you. You ask and I shall, or I ask and I will receive. Yeah, from you guys. That's awesome, man.
So the page after this one is going to be a skeleton fight. You know.
So there you go.
So there you go, man. But yeah, here at Zane Comics, we really want to show how eclectic we could be in the styles we put out, the different books and stories we tell, because all of this is totally different from Magic Cop. And even individually in this one book, the Laws pages, you're going to get different styles, different tones, and even different ways that I'm writing these stories. Because this story is narrated by a poem. So you're going to be reading a poem about these sirens while seeing Wildcard battle them.
Yeah, I do have to ask you one thing. The creative person is coming out here for this question. When they merge together in the same, like not same timeline, because you already explained that, but the same world, or when they come in contact,
when they meet up, yeah.
What's that look going to be? Because is each artist going to draw that character, or are you going to have one artist draw their take on all these characters? Because they can't look like this if they're all interacting, right?
Right. Yeah. So that doesn't happen in this book. Like that's going to happen down the line.
Okay.
So when we get there, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to talk about it. We'll have to choose an artist. But
down the line.
Yeah. But I think it would be cool to maybe do a jam print of each of my artists, drawing them on like a pinup. I think that would be cool.
You have to do that, man. It's crying out for it. Yeah. Like get one artist, like whatever you think is going to define the world, the look of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Have that person draw, all the backgrounds and stuff, and then that one character, and then get like is it Joe Ball and some of these other guys in and draw their characters. Well, they're your characters, but you know what I mean. Their take on.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. That would be so cool. Yeah,
wow.
Get jam stuff. Yeah.
That's cool.
So we got Crimstone here. We got Taz.
With the coloring, yeah.
Yeah, so totally different here. I know Comicsgate is a huge 90s comics following, so we really wanted to, capitalize on that, and I think this is the perfect character for it. That ultraviolet. I'm a huge Simon Bisley, huge Lobo fan, and this is kind of like my homage to those characters from that time, for sure. This is some of the action from that as well.
Wow, that colored up really nice.
And as you can see, breaking the panel over here, making them larger than life. What I kind of wanted to hit on with this is when the action happens and you see Crim, the monster, ripping people apart, it's like something in the world changes. So in this, we tried to have it like a black light turns on. His tattoos start glowing. His color is enhanced a little bit. Even the guy that he's ripping apart is a different color. His blood, the blood is going to be crazy different colors as well.
Yeah, in the black and white line work, you couldn't really see the tattoos and stuff. And really, I mean, this character really comes alive in color.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, this is going to be great. When do you guys think you're going to be launching this?
We're thinking probably a month from now. So sometime next month. We're getting the main cover colored, which is going to be insane. It's going to blow everyone's lid off because we have a special artist for that, and we'll be announcing that next month before we launch. So we still have some stuff to wrap up before we could, get the campaign together. Sure.
I'm not looking for spoilers, Pale Rider. I can't help myself. So sometimes I just get excited. Like these ideas are so cool.
Thank you.
I just want to know more about them. It's just the creative person in me that just wants to find out more. And I think that's a testament to what you guys are doing here as well, that you're getting me excited about it. I want to see more. I really would like, just personally, I would like to see these characters cross over in some way in the campaign, if not in the story, like you said, in a jam print or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that's
Those crazy like 90s or 80s, I guess it was 90s, like posters. Like we did one for Black and White, where I think there were 9 different pieces, so it fits together like a puzzle, or that you can fold it out. You know what I mean? So how many main characters are there? 4 or 5?
So
it's like 2, right? There's the monster and her.
Right. Technically, that's 2. So it's 5 altogether.
So you can have like 5 individual pieces that work as one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That would be killer.
That would be awesome. And then the last thing we're going to show is the masquerade here. Okay. So I just lettered this up. This is a scene where he's getting shot at by some mobsters and he's blocking all the bullets.
Yeah, the sound effects look killer, dude.
Thanks, man. Yeah, those were fun to do. I love doing those letters.
Oh, this is fun. Look at that.
And then this is the next panel here. These super hyper characterized mobsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this 30s, 40s, 50s?
Yeah. So doing like the 1930s Chicago here. In the story, you'll get to see who the man behind the mask is, and he's got some side characters that he deals with as well. But the masquerade, the master of disguise, and he speaks in that Shakespearean language. It's very theatrical. It busts in through a wall or breaks through some glass and gives the villains and bad guys a speech, and totally written in a separate way. So I really looked at those Denny O'Neil run on The Shadow, right down to the narration of that as well. So if you guys are fans of 1966 Batman, the way that's narrated, like deep in the bowels of an abandoned library or whatever, wanted to hit on those cylinders for this one, because I think that's really fun, something we don't see at all anymore, and something we can bring back.
Yeah, I did. I worked with Lynn Wein in the day, and you guys remember a character named the Human Target? It was even a TV series.
Yeah, I remember that show as well.
Yeah, I worked on a Human Target series with Lynn Wein. It never came out. DC never published it. I still have it in the T-Bear Vault. And on top of that, Dick Giordano, he's not a living legend, R.I.P., I'm sorry, Dan. Actually, both those guys passed. Now that I think about it, that's sad. But yeah, it was Lynn Wein and Dick Giordano. So Dick actually inked me on that issue. Those issues. So that was quite a thrill, and I still have those somewhere. I should show those off on a live stream. Yeah. But man, you talk about the kid in me. The guy who created Wolverine and Swamp Thing. I'm working off of his script. And Dick Giordano, who was a childhood idol, he inked all that Neil Adams stuff. And he was a great penciler in his own right. He actually came up with the Dark Knight Returns idea and gave it to Frank Miller. Most people don't know that. Yeah. And he was editor-in-chief at DC Comics. So he's a great, great man. So yeah, this is killer, man. You're speaking my language here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I always love those characters that are masters of disguises. I don't know why. Even when they did that hokey stuff, remember the Mission Impossible? Was it the J.J. Abrams version where he had like this? Was it a machine or something that came over? It was somehow like it was like vacuum formed to his head, and he had some kind of like voice modulator. So he became.
That's how he made the masks when he.
It's so crazy, unbelievable the way they did it. I'm not talking about the way you're doing it, but I get sucked into that crap. Like even, didn't they do that in Total Recall? Wasn't there like that face over his face and all that stuff? Yeah,
that lady. No, that's awesome. No, the way the masquerade kind of like morphs into another person is he has his cape, and like he'll throw his cape around him like Dracula. And then when it passes over him, he's like a different person. So it's kind of like you get that mysticism with him as well.
Also, it's kind of a facade. It's not physical.
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, you know what? It's
It's-
okay, man. It's okay.
It has supernatural qualities to it.
Well, remember, like the Shadow, like because his powers were kind of supernatural, where he was, you know, like a good-looking dude, but then like when he kind of manifests the Shadow, he kind of got this big nose and he got ugly. Yeah. But then he still wore that like thing to hide his face, which I thought was always funny. You know?
Yeah, that's cool. Like his whole thing was he like shadows your mind to make you think he looks a different way.
Yeah,
that's how the shadow worked, which I love the Shadow.
So, are you a big Master of Disguise fan from Dana Carvey art?
Yeah, do you remember that movie?
what was it, Turtle, or whatever? And the only reason I remember that is because my daughter was the perfect age for that, and you guys are probably my daughter's age, so yeah, that probably scarred you guys when you were younger.
Yeah,
I never saw it.
I never saw it either, but all the stupid kids in my junior high would just go around saying that, and it was so dumb.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb. Yeah, but I think it was aimed at like young kids.
Yeah,
for sure.
I hope anyway.
This book's nothing like that.
No, nothing like that. Dana Carvey had nothing to do with this book, you guys.
No.
What if Dana Carvey did contact you and wanted to write a chapter of the Masquerade?
Yeah, we'll do a Wayne's World comic with him.
No, but he wanted to do like the character as a turtle.
Or maybe a cameo.
Yeah, I would say yes. I'd still say yes. I think Dana Carvey is a comedic genius. Yeah, that Wayne's World stuff was brilliant.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Okay, so did you guys have anything else? Was this all the characters here, or?
Yeah, that's what we had to show. We're gonna have more pages. They're getting, some are getting colored right now. They will be up on the campaign when we launch. And get on that mailing list. We're gonna, start sending out some emails about, some exclusive pages to show off and videos. I'm gonna make another cool trailer for the book. And we have another theme song as well for this one. So it's going to be fun.
Man, I'm really looking forward to this. This should be fun. So probably late next month, you think, for the Indiegogo launch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that way we have everything colored and situated properly. When we launched Magic Cop at first, we didn't have all the colors. We only had a couple of pages, and I think now we've learned that people really want to see that. They also really want a good turnaround time on their comic. When Magic Cop was, I don't know, 8 months or something like that. Here we're going to do significantly less.
Yeah, we live and learn. I mean, all these campaigns, we're learning how to do them. We're learning how to do them faster. And then also work with different vendors, different creative people, so we can get things done quicker as well. So this, for your second campaign, you guys, this looks amazing. How many pages is this book, The Lost Pages, going to be?
So I think we're looking at around 60 to 62 pages for the main book. And then you guys are definitely going to want to get that supplemental book as well. So you get all those other stories. Like the Masquerade has his own 4-page story in there. It's done by a different artist, but it is awesome as well. The silhouette and all the other characters have 4-pagers that we're going to keep adding to that. So it's pretty cool seeing. What's up?
I love those 4-page stories.
Yeah,
so cool.
and it's they really help me as a writer to improve, and especially on pacing. If you're writing a really short story, you could use that and multiply it for more pages. So you really get to tell really cool action in a small amount of time. So those are going to be cool.
Well, that looks great. I'm really looking forward to this. And so you guys look forward to it next month, The Lost Pages. And remember that Magic Cop is still in demand, and you guys are heating it up on that. Do you mind if because I'm 5 days, probably like 4 days out from my campaign as well.
Black and white, right?
Yeah, it's the black and white Vampirilla.
Sweet.
Yeah, so let me screen share.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, man.
I'll show you the cover first.
I love the art on this thing. I love how these characters are drawn.
Yeah.
Your style's amazing.
Art's babes are so hot.
I know. They're awesome. I
Thank
just
you.
draw like this.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, the reason I'm doing this is because you really can't blow the artwork up on the campaign. There's not a really killer shot of it.
Oh yeah, and that's why I had Photoshop open also.
Yeah. So this way, and what I'm going to ask them to do is, under the Dynamite #1 rating section, and then it's got the Vampirilla 50th anniversary. I have a logo for Black and White's 25th anniversary, and I'm going to put that right underneath it.
Cool.
Since I'm in Photoshop, maybe I can drop it because there's a search. It'll go right. Wait. Oh man, it's on some stupid airbrush setting. Let me show you. So it'll go right here. Yeah, so I'll put it right there. So yeah, Vampirilla is celebrating her 50th anniversary. She doesn't look a day over. What would you guys say, like 2021?
Yeah.
And Black and White's 25th. So it's actually half of Vampirilla's. So if I live long enough, maybe I can keep these characters going for another 25 years.
75-year and a 50th year anniversary of the characters.
Hell yeah. I'll hire you guys to keep the tradition going when I'm dead and gone.
Sure, keep passing it on. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So this is the cover, colored by the great Kyle Ritter.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And so he and I found a bunch of Frank Frazetta. So this is kind of modeled loosely like a Frank Frazetta composition that I penciled it in. And then I found a bunch of different cool Frank Frazetta paintings, and I sent them to Kyle. And so if you look at it, it kind of does have like a Frank Frazetta, like style. It's not like overly, like.
No, that background, man, it totally screams Frazetta, the crazy background.
Yeah, so this was a little bit of Frank Frazetta inspired. So yeah, we got that, and then I have
so cool.
Thank you. The campaign that I'm going to share real quick.
Yeah, jump on the campaign. Look at that.
Yeah, please. So, it's the limited edition Vampirilla cover. We have 4 days left, 7,256, 123 backers. So I am celebrating my 25th for Black and White, and Dynamite is celebrating their 50th on Vampirilla, the sexiest vampire you'll ever see. So yeah, there's that 25th anniversary or years of Black and
White.
Cool. Yeah. So we'll put that on the cover for you guys. So the featured is all three of the covers signed, and the three covers are the standard. That's the logo one that you just saw. Then we have the line art, and that's the variant, and that doesn't have any color. I like these because I'm an inker. Also, I like comic books because they are just pen and ink. So sometimes when they're just pared down without coloring, kind of like the stuff that Joe Ball was doing, like just the black and white artwork is so killer. So I like that. I think this is the more collectible, so I believe it's a little bit more expensive. And then the Virgin is without any type or logos on it.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Cool.
And so with the featured item, you get all three of those, and they'll be signed by moi. And so then the standard cover is not signed. The Virgin is not signed, and then we just added the T-shirts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
I think I'm gonna get one of those.
Yeah, and people just asked. They were like, "Are you going to do a T-shirt?" So I contacted Dynamite and I said, "Can we do T-shirts?" And they said, "Hell yeah!" So they just put it up there. That was very, very nice of Nick and the gang there. And so then we have the signed, all three of the covers. Unsigned. So it's a little bit less for your pocketbook. And then we have this comes as an add-on as well, but the original Vampirilla sketch. We have that, and then we have the original black and white sketch. So here the images are small here, but this is kind of what they're going to look like. They might change a little bit, and also when you guys check out, you can do these as add-ons as well. So if you just got the T-shirt, you could add a drawing onto that, or if you just got the virgin cover, you could add one of the drawings on, or both the drawings, or whatever you want in checkout, which is nice.
I saw that triangle, the Vampirella with the triangle on DeviantArt, because I had mine on DeviantArt, and somebody added mine to their Vampirella collection, and yours was right there with mine. I was like, oh, awesome. It's a cool feeling that this guy puts my art with art's art in a collection.
It's cool.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I still support DeviantArt. I think DeviantArt. I'm surprised that to hear you say DeviantArt, because a lot of the younger people are like, DeviantArt is dead. I still post on there all the time, and I do good numbers. I think it's great for like a portfolio review. Like if you're working with a client or something like that, you could just go look at my DeviantArt. It's great because it works like a portfolio. You know what I mean? Like they can see the body of your work at a glance. Where if you went through even Instagram, because the Instagram crops the images weird and stuff like that. I still think that for artists, DeviantArt is still a pretty cool platform. Yeah, so it's not just because I'm a boomer. You guys like it too. So.
Yeah, I love it. I love the interface. It's easier to upload than onto ArtStation, even though ArtStation's like higher class or whatever. But I like DeviantArt better.
Yeah, so please, you guys, check out the Vampirella variant black and white cover.
Yeah.
And I do have, where is it? I have one of the drawings right here.
Oh, yeah, man, that's cool.
Awesome.
So it's on 9x12 Bristol board.
Wow. Yeah.
As your friend, what's his name? He says Corinthian.
Yeah, Elliot.
Elliot, Fernandez says it's on real Corinthian paper or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious. And if you guys can indulge me, because this is going to be for a future show, I gotta let maybe you guys could chime in as well. So one thing I did the other day is Mike Mignola has been posting these great images of all these different pop culture characters and stuff. And I'm definitely a kid of the 60s. So Disney did this series called Dr. Sin, and they were based on the novel, and it changed my life. This is one of the first. You guys are into all like the older stuff, so there was the Scarlet Pimpernel, I think, is one of the first, maybe the first vigilante, and actually before Zorro, Scarecrow was done.
Oh, wow.
And then I think Zorro came after. So like vigilante kind of swashbuckler characters.
Mm-hmm.
So Disney did a series on Dr. Sin, and it was pretty amazing, and it rocked my world as a kid. So I think it was Russell Thorndike was the author of the novels, and the novels are really well written and well crafted. And I'm kind of like you, where I'm kind of a comic historian. I like to find out where things came from, and how we've kind of got to this place as far as vigilante ideas, like the rules of these different genres were set up and things like that. And actually, I found out. I think Russell Thorndike was the Scarecrow stuff was in 1915. So I think it predates Zorro by a couple years. But wow. Zorro had better branding, you know what I mean? So everybody.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah. And when you read too, like you read on the history, there was an actual person that Zorro, and I think even Scarecrow was modeled after. So some of these characters were like, even I heard like the Lone Ranger was, somebody said like Bass Reeves was the prototype for the Lone Ranger. So I don't know how true that is. I haven't done any research on it, but I like all that stuff. Did you guys ever see that movie School of Rock?
Yeah.
Okay, they took this from a documentary. Well, this metalhead did this series of documentaries, and he did like a tree, kind of like, how you do your family tree. And he did a family tree, and he did all the different, like, this is where metal came from. Like, here's the trunk, right? And then all the branches are all the different deviations of like punk, and then punk into metal, and then punk metal, and then, punk rap and rap metal, and, like all of these different things, heavy metal, hard rock. And so I always thought that that was really cool, and that's where they got that idea for School of Rock. But I want to do one with like comic books and like action adventure, and just do some. It would take some major research, but just kind of like figure out where all these different ideas came from and what gave birth to what, just so you could see the trajectory, and also just as a nod to some of these guys that came before that we don't acknowledge, like Russell Thorndike for Scarecrow, and these guys that really paved the way for stuff that we're doing now. I think it would be a great documentary. I'd watch it.
Awesome, yeah.
There's got to be some Comicsgate fan, you know, maybe not even a creator, who's just really, really into comic books and knows the history and stuff that you could get with and, you know, compile all that information. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we have a documentary filmmaker, which is Adam Friended.
Yeah.
And I've been actually talking with Adam Friended about doing a Comicsgate documentary.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
We should now call it Pencils Down. Things changed so quickly, man, because we were going to call it like the death of the comics industry. We had all kinds of titles, but now it'd probably be Pencils Down.
Perfect. With a question mark at the end.
Yeah, the question. Yeah, we'll see where things are going. So this is where I wanted to get some feedback, and so I showed that drawing. So what I did with this is some people said, hey, why don't you ink that? Because I posted this up, just Mike Mignola's drawing, and they said, why don't you ink it? So I thought, yeah, that'd be cool. So then I inked it on live stream, and then I thought, well, I'll just give this art away. I can't sell it because, you know, it just wouldn't be right because I didn't commission Mike to draw it or anything. So I thought I could give it away. So we did this raffle yesterday. Cool. And we raffled off the artwork. And then I asked people if you'd want me to do this again. And they said, yes, let's do this. So I have 4 different pieces of Mike Mignola artwork that I want to see which one you guys think is the best. And then I'll ink that up tomorrow on a live stream.
Sweet.
Yeah. So let me see.
I'm a huge Hellboy fan. I love Mike's Hellboy.
Yeah, these are awesome. So if you guys don't know, Mike has been doing these pop culture characters in his style. And so this is H.R. Pufnstuf.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this is one choice. This is oh my gosh, what was his name? Super Frankenstein or something like that. It was like a Frankenstein robot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from Hanna-Barbera, right. I think.
Yeah, I forget what his full name was. And then this is Gigantor. This is the one I really want to do personally. So this is one I thought was cool when I was a kid. And let me see, is this the last one here? So this is Hellboy as a giant robot.
That's cool.
So I thought this one was cool as well. So let me see if I can assign a number to these, and maybe we can figure it out. So let me get something to write this down with. So we have Gigantor. So let's give him number 1. So Gigantor is number 1. So if you guys want me to ink up Gigantor, put a 1 in the chat. And so then I kind of want to do this. I can't decide, man. But HR Pufnstuf, give me a 2 in the chat. And then, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on the name. Maybe somebody in the chat. I think it was like Super Frankenstein or something like that. Because he had like oh my gosh. He was kind of like a superhero. He wore like the mask and everything. I think this was an Alex Toth design, like the domino mask, and then fight.
Brandon just looked it up. It's Frankenstein Jr.
Frankenstein Jr. Yes, so that would be
possible.
Yeah, and so I think he was operated by a little kid with a remote control.
Yeah.
And so then we got the giant Hellboy robot. So that would be number 4. So you guys pick for me, and then we'll do that. And I think I have this is a better version of that piece I inked up the other day.
Oh yeah, it looks good.
So this is all scanned up.
Cool.
So, yeah, so to end up looking something like this when I'm done, whichever version you guys, or whichever artwork you guys want me to do.
I personally want number 1. I think that one's cool. And I think Brand, you said you like the.
I like the HR Puffin stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious because it looks like a Frank Mignola monster.
I like Mignola, yeah.
But when they say like, "Oh, it's HR Puffin stuff," it's like,
yeah,
of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you see the mayor, he's got the little badge and everything. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we got 2 for Gigantor now. So we have Phil and we have Arctic. So that's 2. Sheldon says 3. So the super what is it? Frankenstein Jr. Zaid says 1. Let me see if I can get all these. Zaid Ninja says 2. That's always still weird. It's off-putting when I see like people that are on the show actually in the chat. Arctic says 1, so we actually got 3 for SD Ken says 4, so we got 1 for the Hellboy robot. Wait a minute, 1 and 4? That's cheating. You can't do that. Borrow ideas. This is not cool, but I'll do it anyways.
But see, Justin McClure says, "Where are the boobs?" Which is a good question.
I don't know. Is Mike known for boobs? I think he's mostly known for giant robots and monsters. He's not really a boob guy. If you want boobs, go back this tier.
Yes.
Put your money where your boobs are.
Check out my
That sounded rude. Okay, so we got another 2. Actually, we got 2. So Brandon, you said HR Puffin stuff as well, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's 2 for
Studio 7 says 1, so that's
Gigantor is in the lead here. So I'm going to give this a couple more minutes, and then we'll wrap this up. Do you guys have a parting shot, Phil?
What's that? Like a wrap-up speech?
Yeah.
Back Magic Cop. We're shipping out every day. Someone just posted up today that they got their package, and he just backed it like a few days ago, like last week. So things are going out there really quick. And check out the lost pages. Go to that link, sign up for the newsletter. So when you do back it, you get that free trading card. And then we're going to have an exclusive trading card as well if you back the first week, so we can get those people in there early. So yeah, go on there, read about the characters on that page, and sign up for the mailing list.
Yeah. And if you guys are interested in more Magic Pop and Zaid Comics merchandise, you guys can go to zaidcomics.com and check out the Etsy store, or we have t-shirts and some other t-shirts of my art on there.
Yeah.
And just you guys can check out our social media platforms and check out all of our art, and go to Phil's. Phil's always posting the updates for everything on there, as well as our Zaid Comics YouTube channel. And I do have a Patreon for the guys who want to see boobs. I do draw a lot of women and do some really awesome paintings on my Patreon. So if we get some backers on there, that'll be updated.
Yeah.
And also, you're on DeviantArt.
I am on DeviantArt if you do want to see some of that art gratis. You can go check that out on there.
So yeah, if you want to back boobs, I think there's some boob tiers on Magic Cop. So
yeah, that's true.
Who was it? Was it Justin? Yeah. So wait, Johnny says he says hell puffin stuff pointy boots. So is that a 1 then, or what is that? Would that be a 2? I'm gonna write it down as a 2.
I gotta go because I gotta go pick up some more Magic Cop ash cans from the printers before they close, because we unexpectedly sold way more of those than we actually printed.
Yeah.
So I gotta go print up a second print of that. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching this.
All right, and Phil, if you want to take off, go ahead, because I'm just going to add up these scores and then figure this out, or you can hang out either.
Yeah, I'll hang out.
Oh, cool. Thank you. So quit your bitching. What? Quit bitching. Who's bitching? Was that aimed at Brandon?
I don't know.
Quit your bitching. Okay, so Gigantor has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's good. HR Puffs and stuff has 4. Frankenstein Jr. has 1, and Hellboy has 2. So it looks like I am going to ink up Gigantor tomorrow for you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
So yeah, look forward to that. I'll probably go on early. That's kind of my thing. Early. I was talking to Phillip about less competition early. You know,
for sure.
yeah, most of the Comicsgate guys go in the evening. So so that's cool. So yes, you guys go sign up for the Lost Pages. That concept looks great, man. Hats off. It sounds like a great, fun idea. Magic Cop is now in demand, so go back, grab yourself a copy. And Black and White Vampirilla is in demand right now. Well, it's not in demand. I'm sorry. It's live right now, and we only have 4 days left. So if you want to back a copy, you want a drawing, you want a T-shirt, get on it because time is running out. So thanks everybody. Thanks Phil for sharing your great IPs and ideas. It's always fun to hang out with the Diaz brothers. So very cool, man. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Have a great day. Take care.